It's 6:30 and we're at the Pine Ridge Clubhouse.
Excuse me. Everybody listen,
Lakeside
please.
Club Boulevard. And we're gonna start our association directors meeting. Before we stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance, we need to pay a little respect, take a pause for two of our longtime residents that recently passed away. Tom Fontaine, Ella Mae Pryor. I'm sure a lot of you know him. Tom is well known. I don't know Ella, but I'm sure they're both gonna be missed. A moment of silence. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And will you please take the roll?
Bob Tolles.
Here.
Tom Trino.
Absent.
Scott Harris.
Here.
Bill England.
Here.
John Howell.
Here.
Laurie Blaze. Here. And Dan Urban. Here.
Was the meeting properly noted?
Yes, it was.
Do I have a motion to waive the reading of last month's minutes?
I'll make a motion to waive the reading of the minutes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Eric, did we have anybody sign up to speak tonight?
Yes, we did. The first one is Jolene or Lorraine. Jolene Porter or Lorraine King.
Thank you. I didn't get a chance to make notes, I was signing. So if you have not signed up for the directory pictures, you can do so in the back of the room after the meeting. We'll be there again. If you'd like to have your picture taken, all the information is there, and we will make you an appointment so you can come in and do that. We have a bus trip going to the casino in Hollywood next Thursday, a week from tomorrow. There is room on the bus if anybody would like to go. If you know somebody that might want to go, please send them my way because we could use a few more people. This Saturday night, you want to go? Perfect. This Saturday night, the Alley Cats will be here. It's $10 a person, and it will be outside unless we have inclement weather, and then it will be inside. Besides that, we're kind of winding down. We had very good turnout for our Pine Ridge Day, except that the weather also was here with us. Kind of ruined things a little. No games again this year, but maybe next year we'll be able to do the whole thing and not get rained out or have a pandemic or anything like that. So that would be good. But everybody, we sold 194 meals. So everybody was, they were all anxious to do it, so that was good. The only other thing we have coming up is April 2nd is our end of the year pool party. And that will be out by the pool. There'll be a hot dog sale that day. That's about it. We're, like I say, winding down from a very busy season.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Did we have anybody else?
Yes. Next up is Carl Hyatt.
Yeah, I came down here today to try and get the board to straighten out a sale deal, a Blackberry rather. The speeding at Blackberry is tremendous. I put a copy of a letter that I wrote and Eric edited it. This is back in 2014, asking the board to please slow the traffic down. If you can't slow it down, put something out there to slow it down, okay? Because somebody's gonna get killed there someday, or they're gonna get hurt. And it's what, the traffic comes up through Villa and down on Blackberry, shoots down all the ways down to the maintenance yard is, and goes into where the condominiums are. And they have every right to be on that road. But there's got to be a way to do something to slow them down. Because when you're backing out of your driveway, or you're trying to get out of your driveway, I got to back in and usually and then drive out. It seems like every time I go pull out, something comes down the road. And it's pretty close. I think the board, I got a letter up there for everybody to read if they want to. It's a copy of it. I'd like you to read it and think about it, on the other streets. If you're gonna live on the other streets and you have speed bumps or rolling bumps or whatever it is, I'm not asking for too much. I just want to be able to slow the place down a little bit. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Carl, and living across the street from you, yes, there are people that speed up and down Blackberry. I pretty much know what's in your letter. Speed bumps might deter that. I would suggest that perhaps Eric puts a call into FedEx Dispatch. The UPS guy is extremely courteous. However, FedEx guy and Amazon, of course. So we will take a look at that situation. Just as a side note, we have had loose conversations about the speed limit, 15 miles an hour, and I don't know if there would be any added value in having a big 15 painted on the pavement as you come through the entrance. But it is a situation that we are aware of, and if there's anything we can do to correct that.
Well, we got a sign up there. People don't see it. They're
That's,
driving, they're thinking about everything else, and go right past the sign.
yes.
Carl, didn't we, back in, I didn't know what year it was, but you said 14. Was it not the residents of Blackberry that blackballed the speed bumps?
It was.
As a matter of fact, I can tell you really quick. On that time, when we put this letter in, we had the board, I don't remember who the board was, but the board,
I was on it.
you voted on it, and you voted yes, okay? It was voted properly in the way it should have been. But we had a resident here on Blackberry that didn't like the idea of having a speed bump. Well, I don't like to have it either. But I don't like it either when you're coming down the road and you almost get hit by somebody speeding down the road, not 10, 15, or 20 miles an hour, sometimes 30, 40 miles an hour. okay? At that time, the board turned around and reneged on putting these rolling, not a speed bump, a rolling bump, which doesn't shatter your car. It's easier on your car. Yes, we had it. If you look in the records, you could probably
Yeah,
find it there.
I remember we did, but didn't know it was one individual. I thought it was more than one.
Well, there was one individual that turned around and went up and down Blackberry, even up the other end where it's not affected, and asked for somebody to sign a petition, which was illegal anyway, because you can't have petitions in Pine Ridge. Okay, you can't go house to house and have petitions. Okay, so, yeah, I lost, and everybody else on Blackberry down around that area where Bob lives and where, we kind of lost on that.
Well, this speeding has been mentioned every meeting for the last 10 years. And I'm afraid we, the board, are going to have to do something, not only on Blackberry, but the main drag, because people do not respect the speed limit at all.
Well, thank you anyway.
Thank
Carl,
you, Carl.
I'm glad you mentioned the petition because there's a couple things I remember from the time, and one of the things was petitioning.
Yeah,
And it was like, well, it was understood at the time, well, we can't do petitions. That's not how things operate. So that part wouldn't have been considered. The other thing I remember was there was a plan for X amount of speed bumps, if you remember, because
Yeah, I remember that.
And then what it came down to, because there was a lot of division, was we'll put in half the speed bumps. If that solves the problem, fine, but we will reserve, the board reserved the option to implement the other half of the speed bumps if it didn't solve the problem. So there is we'll have to go back and get the minutes. That's
you were on
whatever's in the minutes.
yeah, you were on the board. Some of you were on the board at that time.
I was just on,
But you're wrong about that. There was a petition.
There was a
And
petition.
that was a illegal petition.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
Because
was,
people didn't know what they were doing, what they were
that's
saying.
what, I'm not saying there wasn't
Yeah.
a petition. I said, we decided it was impossible to consider a petition because that's not the way it's done. You can't,
I don't think,
Okay.
it's not illegal to do a petition.
No, you can
There's
do
a
it.
law,
Well,
but,
well, no.
like it's America, you can do whatever you want, but the petition's not binding, it doesn't force the
No, it
board.
doesn't.
Well, no, I know it's not binding, but the thing is, in the rules and regulations, petitions aren't legal.
Door-to-door solicitations.
Yeah, door-to-door solicitation is not legal,
Okay.
okay?
So-
All right.
Thank you, Carl.
May I make a suggestion? They have a temporary speed bump that you can take, it's a rollover, it's not a regular speed bump, but you can take and put it down in different places. And if it works, you can take it up and remove it. It's not like the permanent ones we have. That may be something you want to look into.
Anything
and,
would help,
remove it.
anything would help.
Thank
slow
you.
it down.
Thank you, Carl. I don't think we want a movable one. Do I have a motion to look into speed bumps on Blackberry?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
It's a long time coming.
Who's up next to speak?
Michelle Locke.
Hi, Michelle Locke, 4701 Lakeside, number 23. Did any of the board members get my email about the roof shingles coming off our roof?
Yes.
So, and you've heard me speak up here several times between 2017 and 2020, when this was in litigation with Crown Roofing. So in 2020, when they put the roof, or tried to repair the roof, I was watching closely. I took video, I took photos, and I said that roof ridge is not on right. I sent that to Eric. I was told Crown put it on correctly, done deal. No need for another inspection. Well,
What is your engineering degree and roofing license number?
oh my goodness, really?
Yes.
Okay, the roof ridge is coming off of my building. I'm mistaken. This, I thought it was shingles above my lanai. Because when they came down, they made a loud noise and crashed right below my thing. But now today, I went across the lake, because Eric told me a tarp was put up. I went across the lake and I saw that the tarp is on the ridge, which is, the adjacent unit to mine. It's Randy and Beth's ridge.
Okay,
So this ridge
I'm
that
gonna,
I
I'm gonna go
said
ahead and
was
speak.
not put
I'm gonna
on
go ahead.
correctly,
I'm gonna go ahead.
also
I'm gonna-
affecting their.
I'm gonna go ahead and
ridge.
speak now. I'm gonna go ahead and speak now. So
You don't wanna hear
the ridge cap is shingles that go over top of a foam that ventilates the attic. The shingles are lifted slightly above the main roof, the roof proper, because of that little bit of foam for the ventilation. That little bit of space allows for wind in a very bad storm like what we had on Saturday to get up underneath those shingles. And if you're ever gonna lose some shingles from the roof, it's more likely than not going to be that roof ridge cap. It is, doesn't mean your roof is faulty. And it happened on Saturday. The tarp was put on Tuesday. It will be repaired by the end of the week.
it. What about the crack, above Glenn's building? That slash on the roof above his up on his roof, what is that from?
I don't know what that is. I don't know what you're talking about.
Crown came and repaired it last year.
So it's
And
been, so it's
still
repaired.
visible. It's still visible. There's a long slash. This is a 5-year-old roof.
A long slash.
Yes, it's split.
I'm not sure what a slash is.
My people in my building know. What's the split? How did it
I don't know what
split?
you're talking
And
about.
why would a roof split that's only 3 years old? It split
Is
in
water
2020.
coming inside the house? The roof is split? What does that mean?
It means there's some kind of,
So there's a ridge, there's a vent, there's a gap where the pieces of wood meet. And actually the repair that we had was going to open that up more so it could ventilate better.
it's not a joke, Eric.
It's not
If
a
you
joke,
look
I'm
at the
telling
roof-
you the answer to your question.
If you look at the roof from the parking lot, you can clearly see a slash in the roof where it's split above Glenn's skylight. What caused that? Why is it like that? And why is it still there?
We will have our safety engineer and myself take a visual look at that. If we see something, we will have Crown Roofing get up and take a closer look at it. They are the licensed contractor. We have a repair agreement to get any of these repairs fixed. It is a non-issue. Next.
Bonnie Robinson?
I just want to thank the board and the community for the beautiful bridge that was put up. I mean, it's gorgeous. I mean, I was looking for a couple papers and we got this amazing bridge. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you. And as most of you may know, we were able to build that bridge with supplies that were purchased 3 years ago when we purchased pallet or truckload of womanized wood. So buying at the truckload, we received a pretty good deal. And then if you consider today's prices, you all know we saved a lot of money, and that was done with our labor. So I think they did an excellent job on that. It's a attractive feature if you even don't use it.
Barb Jacques.
I guess I'm becoming a regular. My name is Barbara Jacks. I live at 9540 Green Cypress Lane, apartment 16. I have been playing bocce for the last year, and I have members of the team that wanted an exploration of what it would cost to resurface the playing field. So I've got a proposal here for you all to look at. And I do have somebody coming tomorrow free of charge to give us an estimate as to what needs to be done to make the playing field, playing surface playable.
Can we have everybody turn off their cell phones,
Sorry.
please?
I don't know if any of you have been out there, any of you that have played. It looks like The rug needs to be totally replaced, and the surface underneath needs to be leveled. There's dents. It actually looks like a hailstorm came through, but I think it's more from the balls being dropped.
I did hear of that, and I can imagine you're playing on chuck holes. I'm from Michigan. I know how to do it, but you shouldn't have to. So I'll take a look at that with Eric in the next week, and
I do have a gentleman coming tomorrow
thank you.
at 1:30 to take a look. If anybody wants to join, if the board wants to join, or anybody that plays wants to join, please come. There is another company that's supposed to be calling me back. They are Sports Surfaces. They were supposed to reach out to me today. They have not. So again, this is not a petition. This is people that play all the time and would like to see something done.
Currently, the surface of that, is it painted concrete?
No, it's carpet.
Oh, okay, see, I don't get over there.
Eric and I met with some people last year when they were there.
Yeah,
Got a price on that.
yeah, it's a little more involved. You'll find out a little bit probably tomorrow when this guy
Well,
goes
I
out,
mean,
but-
from the research I've done, they probably have to pull the carpet off, it's glued down, then it's gotta be filled in, and then it's gotta be leveled, and then there's glue that has to be put back on.
The problem that we run into is the balls are really heavy balls, and if you just cap that concrete to level it out, you're gonna crack it underneath is what all the contractors have said to us in the past. So it'll be interesting to see what this.
Yeah, I mean, can't hurt to get estimates. Thank you.
Thank you for putting the time and initiative into looking for contractors, and we would always naturally take more than one bid.
Of course,
You know
that's
how the
why.
contractors in Florida, don't ever go with one bid.
Thank you.
Next.
You did a good job.
Eric, would you please present the manager's report?
Hello, everybody. Got a lot to go over, but I'm gonna try to go through it quickly. There's a lot of paperwork when you came in that you guys were able to pick up. A couple of things I just want to call attention to in that, one is the leaving the unit vacant for an extended period of time. I know in about 2 weeks, several of you are going to be leaving to go back up north. This checklist, we've had it for a long time. Most of you, if you've been here, you probably have one or you've seen it. But this is the stuff that if you follow it, you're more likely than not going to have a problem when you're not here. If you don't follow it, those are a lot of times where we have the problems. So please pick one of these up if you didn't and read it over and take the precautions. The other document I wanted to just call attention to is the community real estate update. I started making these when I got the job here 10 years ago. So this is the 9th or 10th one. And the values have really gone up significantly. I mean, lakefront condos between 140 and 190, those were going for about 40 or 50 at the time, 10 years ago. And villas with a garage were going for 65 or 70. Now we have 180 to 220 as the range. So everything has gone up very much. And this can be an informative document for you. It also talks about renting, if you're renting seasonally or annually, how much you should be charging. A few residents have called and inquired about having their windows cleaned. A few years ago, we had set up with a window cleaning company that people could call in and book them, and they would come out and try to do everybody in the same week or something like that, and then give a discounted price. So Pamela was able to get the same company again and set up the same type of deal. It's all posted at the mailbox, so feel free to give them a call. Let them know you're with Pine Ridge. They'll probably schedule you on a day that they're going to be here anyway, and you'll be able to get a little better price than you would otherwise.
Do they do the condos?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
But no audience. At the end, you guys can have some questions, okay? We also have a similar arrangement worked out with Lint Out, which is our dryer vent company. So we have them come out and clean the common dryer vent stacks in the multi-story condo buildings every year. And we also, at the same time, make that type of arrangement where I think it's only $129 for them to come in and do the inside of your dryer and check the hoses and all that stuff. 90. So they're gonna do it for us for 30 if you sign up under our, it's about $100 normally if you call it down to your house. So if you're interested in that, you don't need it every year. I tell people, especially, it's usually only 1 or 2 people living in these condos, so it's not like you're doing a ton of laundry. But every few years, it's not a bad idea to have that done and that checked out. Yesterday, we completed the annual inspection on all of our fire extinguishers. The issue of drainage was brought up to some of the board members. And it's the same, we've talked about it pretty much every year. And we're constantly monitoring our drainage because it seems like we all have, there's a little paranoia that like we don't have adequate drainage here. However, I've been watching it for 10 years. When it rains, there's water all around, and then within a very reasonable amount of time, the water goes away. That tells you your drainage is working. When the issue first came up, I think it was 2017 or 18, we had a company, an excavation company, come out to tell us what we needed to do. And they shot elevations all the way across the line. The ditch from Blackberry, the one end of Blackberry, all the way down behind Green Cypress, all the way down to Lake. And the elevations were perfect. That there was no spots that needed any significant change. So we'll be monitoring it this summer. You know, as the climate changes, there could be more rain and more severe storms. And we've seen a little bit of that, I think, with some of these quick storms that hit that you don't even know they're going to be coming, and they're pretty bad like Saturday. But we're going to be watching it, and I know Bob is going to be keeping an eye on it. He lives right on Blackberry there, where a lot of times people think that there's a problem, but they're really, if the water comes down and then within a few hours it's gone, they tell you that you have good, adequate drainage there. So last month we had some capacitors on the spa heaters replaced. And we also had to replace both chemical feeders, the acid feeder and the chlorine feeder. There's one other part that we're working on getting that it needs repair over there. So if the hot tub is out for a period of time, bear with us. We should have it back up and running shortly. One of the pool heaters that are out front here needs a new compressor, only one of them. So there's 5, I believe, heaters that heat that pool. So it can keep up and keep it warm with 4, but it's a lot better if we have to 5. So we'll be happy to get that done. And that they're just waiting for the compressor to come in. Over the last 2 months, we trapped and removed 46 critters, mostly raccoons and possums. So that's good. Usually we find them around the dumpsters and sometimes around some of the houses. Every once in a while, an armadillo too. Did a fair amount of tree trimming last week ahead of the storms. We'll continue to do more trimming before storm season, before the main part of storm season. We had some minor roof damage on one building from the storm. We discussed that in the open forum, to be repaired by the end of the week. And just some odds and ends that the amenities committee recommended we purchase a rolling cart for the tables, the folding tables. That's worked out well. Bruce is very happy with it. And we got a couple more dollies for the chairs and a new runner for the hallway there coming in. So dressing the clubhouse up a little bit else. That's all for today.
Thank you, Eric. Well, for my president's report, with the season coming to a close this month for a lot of individuals, I want to highlight some of the positive things that we have accomplished over the last little while. First and foremost, we had 3 years, if you remember, basically, where we had that COVID thing hanging over us. And we have now fully opened, we've been fully open for a while, and we haven't had any problems with that, although we know COVID is still hanging around out there, and guess if you listen to the news, everybody in here has a chance or better chance of getting it. So if you're that person, remember to protect yourself. And Eric mentioned real estate's going up here, so that's a great positive thing for everybody. And unfortunately, with inflation going up, which nobody likes to see that, it's also going to drag your property value up, I'm sure. So we're not looking at any declines in the future either. Should have a steady increase on our property value here. The committee under the board's direction over the past year has increased street lighting around the community greatly. We have begun to build and install some walk paths, decks, guardrails throughout the community, which will increase safety by providing solid surfaces for residents to walk on, and also provide greater accessibility to different areas of the community without traveling across grass or through the ditch as we put the bridge in. At the end of the last year, the community voted to amend the nuisance provision of the condo documents. This gives the board greater ability to assess the severity of nuisance violations and take appropriate actions, while also shielding the association from some liability and preserving the owner's legal right to personally pursue the matter. I will say that I hope this goes a long way to deter the few that have behaved disruptively in the past from doing so. We've also begun to eliminate some of the community's fruit trees. As you all know, illegal plantings, it's kind of gone to the sideway over the years. We've had complaints in both directions. However, from the beginning of time in this community, fruit trees have not been allowed, so they are going to be removed completely. We also stopped the issue of bikes under the stairwell, along with other items that were being stored under the stairwell. We installed additional signage along the pole, although some people don't like it, but it is a necessity, and there is no excuse for not seeing the signs now. They're there. We've also, as you know, looked into the recovering of the chairs and loungers with more durable, higher quality material. It was a little more expensive, but we don't expect to see tears happening in it. And for those of you that have touched it, it is a much durable product. So we'll see how that runs over time. As you all know, the previous ones, we didn't get a lot of mileage out of those. The front entrance around the fountain was completely re-landscaped, and everything's blooming out there. Growth is starting to kick in, so that's starting to look nicer than it did before. A little bit of improvement. We also now have first-class surveillance cameras in both clubhouse and pool areas at the front entrance of the community. It's already been used in a couple incidences. And looking ahead, we have a number of other things that we'll be focused on, such as pots, potted plants in the yard, yard decor, and other items around villas. It's against the rules to have them, and they've become a hazard in the event of a hurricane. You're ramping up the rules and regulations. I was in charge of the committee previously. We looked at and we're in the middle of thoughts of possible revisions. That's now in Ann's hands, and it's in her control. So at this point, Ann's been working on taking care of violations with Eric's assistance. She's not riding shotgun, but we're aware of these situations. We have heard of others. We can only take care of the ones that we know about. We'll face some challenges, mostly related to the economy and the budget, but we will be proactive, and we have an excellent treasurer, Scott, who will keep us advised. So I'll wrap it up by saying to everybody, thank you for a great season, and our snowbirds are leaving over the next few weeks. We will begin looking forward to seeing you in the fall. I'm going to have a couple other comments at the end. We have a little bit of old business, but we'll go around the table and ask each of the board members to present any committee reports that they may have. We'll start at the end with John Mao.
The Safety and Lighting Committee had their meeting. I was guided by my friends from New Jersey. He's also a speeder. We did talk about the overhanging branches that were blocking some of the lights. We spoke to Eric. Eric had the tree guys take care of those. We did have some lights that were flickering down here. We're in the process of getting those taken care of. Other than that, please, again, slow down. If you happen to see the person that's driving fast, get a tag number, what color the car is, come in and write an incident report. The more incident reports we have, the better we are with our attorney. Please, I don't want to see anybody get killed, and you poor people with the dogs, watch your back at all times, because they don't see you. Ring doorbell cameras. I did no cut, but I wish I did, but I'm just looking out for you guys. Listen.
Other brands are also available.
That was a disclaimer. That has nothing to do with it. So please, again, always look where you're going. If you're out walking at night, try to wear something reflective. Don't look like a ninja, in a black outfit. Please, again, safety is the most important thing down here. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Ann?
Well, we also had a meeting, and it was very poorly attended. Eric was there, Marcia and Tom Trino, and myself. And that was our meeting for rules and regulations. So Marcia had quite a bit of input. And as mentioned, we are going to get serious about removing the pots and the flags and the things hanging from trees. And we're not allowed to put one thing in common ground. And once we walk off of our unit, we are in common ground, or limited common in some cases. But please, everyone thinks their little bunny at the entrance is cute, or their turtle or whatever, but it's not. It doesn't belong there. Please, let's remove everything that is on the common property. And we're going to have to start, if people don't voluntarily do that, we're gonna have to start going around and doing it ourselves. There will be other things addressed in the future, but let's try to get this place cleaned up. But when I was on the board back from 2010 to 2014, we did the same thing, and we cleaned it all up, and now it's gradually, everybody thinks the rules apply to everybody but themselves. Not true. They apply to you and me and the next guy. Please, let's cooperate.
Thank you, Ann.
You're welcome.
Scott, treasurer's report?
Yeah, good news, bad news as usual. We're on budget and our finances are in pretty good shape. we are expecting another significant rise in the general liability insurance premium like last year. Eric has provided the supporting document for that. I guess it's on the table if you want to look at the projected figures. A representative from our agency, Brown & Brown, will attend next month's board meeting, and we'll try to explain the situation in the insurance market, and Laura will be available for your questions, so you might want to come to that. We won't feel the pinch on the premium rise till the second half of the year, and we may not then if we're careful. We're going to continue as normal. Currently approved projects will continue as planned. Anybody with new projects, we're going to review those for cost and for requirement for need. Be a little patient with us. I'm glad somebody was happy with the bridge. That shows what happens if you're a little bit patient. We managed to find materials which had already been paid for, so there wasn't a lot of money in that, and they got a better product. They got more than what they expected. So it was very cheap, which made me happy, very nice, which makes everybody else happy. So that's great. Budget committee will be meeting sometime shortly. We'll do an assessment of our present requirements just to see where we are, and then we'll do some preliminary strategizing going forward. We don't know exactly what the insurance is going to be. It's going to be a bunch, but we're not going to worry about that till it happens, and just set some policies for the next 18 months. We do have the financial reports. They came in after I went to press this afternoon, so they're available, the balance sheets up there. Also the long form, if you'd like to see that, come in and ask Pamela for a copy of that if you like. And that's it. All documents are always available at all times for your review. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott. Bill England.
Our Lake and Amenities Committee met on March the 11th. We started out back out here at the gazebo, and it got so windy we had to move inside. Of course, it was a little windy inside also, but that's besides the point. There was about 27 people that attended the meeting during that time. We had 3 agenda items to discuss. The first item of the agenda was to define what was an amenity. An amenity includes the lake, the pool, the hot tub, the tennis courts, pickleball courts, bocce ball courts, shuffleboard courts, the clubhouse, the dog park, and the fountain. Although some thought other things should be included in amenities for the purpose of our committee, this is what we meet on and discuss. The second agenda item was pickleball courts, which this will be handled under the old business section in just a little bit. The third item on there was that had to do with someone brought up about the cornhole courts, and everyone there didn't think they needed any additional things or materials at this time. During the open discussion portion of the meeting, a suggestion was brought up about horseshoe courts again. And I'm going to get with Eric and we'll determine if possible, if there is a place where we can put those safely. And if we can, how much it would cost to install those courts properly and bring that back to the board. And one suggestion that was brought up in the meeting, and I wished I'd thought of it, and it had to do with the when new residents and visitors come into the association and they're trying to find out who to talk to about games and so forth and activities, they really don't have a point person for those activities. What would really be nice if we had a person or persons for, just say, bocce ball, that we can put on the board or the mailboxes, wherever it is, and that way, if someone needed to know something about the bocce ball, they could call this person and ask the question of them. I can't answer because I don't play bocce ball. I don't even have a bocce ball bat, so I don't know how you play it. But it was a really good suggestion, and it's something, like I said, wished I'd thought of. But if the people that plays these games will let me know or let Eric know who can be a good point person for those, we'll put the people's names on the board, and also in the new owners package, when they come in, they'll have that information also, so that if they want to go to the pool and play volleyball or whatever, they'll have someone that they can call and find out that information on. So, like I said, I thought it was really good, and I wished I'd thought of it, but I didn't. And I forgot who it was that brought it up, but whoever it did, like I said, I think it's a really good idea. And we had, during that time, I had a sign-up sheet, anyone that wanted to volunteer to be on the committee for the year, and I had 6 people to sign up. So I've got Dale and Judy Humberger, Ed Perez, Kay McAnally, Robert Speedo Man, ex-Speedo Man, I'll put it. He says he doesn't wear his Speedo now, but
He got the retirement.
and my wife also, Kathy's on that. So I want to thank these people for taking the time for volunteering and their time and support. Also, there's a copy of the 2021 annual pond report, and this was put together by the Lee County Hyacinth Control District, and it goes over all of the information about our lake out here, what they look at and how it stands. And if you'll read that, and you can see that our lake is in really good shape, and it's probably one of the better lakes around. And if you want, like I said, if you want a copy of it, if you need another copy, I can get you a copy of it also.
We just put a couple of pass around.
And at this time, we haven't set a time and a date for our next meeting, but we'll get that out. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. Lori, I know you have a landscaping report for us.
Sorry.
Landscape Committee.
Closer.
A little closer.
The Landscape Committee meets the 4th Wednesday of every month in the clubhouse. We've had extremely good turnouts and a lot of input, ideas, thoughts, and we have very optimistic plans. We've actually been out in the community 3 times, and I thank all the volunteers very much, because those are hot days and it's not an easy job. And we're hoping to be able to put together a plan, possibly a 3 to 10 year plan, not quite sure yet if it's going to be exactly that parameter, with the idea that a lot of our landscaping is older, and I think it would be, or the landscape committee thinks it would be a good idea to have a plan so we're prepared. And maybe if we see a tree that we think has got a shorter lifespan than another tree, that we're prepared and we have an idea of what to possibly put in there or how much longer it could be, both financially and aesthetically. It's very important to pick carefully what goes where, both for irrigation and for closeness to structure, because in a small tree is lovely, but some of the landscaping hasn't been trimmed as much as it maybe should have been to keep the trees to a size that they don't interfere with the sidewalks, buildings, other trees, or maybe too many trees were planted at one time, I'm not sure. But our idea is to put together a plan so that there is something to forecast what we would anticipate is going to happen to the landscape. Again, going out in that heat, those many days. I'm truly appreciative because I can't do this by myself. And a lot of people who've come to the landscape committee are not able to come out and about. I've tried to get a golf cart every time that we go out, so that if walking or being out in that heat for too long is too much. And I'll continue to try to get one as we have more of these tours. But I think the knowledge of some of the people that have been here is invaluable. And new people who don't know a lot about horticulture are welcome as well, because they have ideas. And the more ideas and the more thoughts, the better result we're going to have. So I do truly appreciate everybody's participation. So again, the fourth Wednesday of every month at 6:30 in the clubhouse. At this point, I think I'm going to continue on throughout the summer, because we can be working on whatever we toured and found. And I know we won't get it completed before seasonal people have to head north and deal with their northern gardens, but at least we'll be in good shape. It's coming along pretty well for such an optimistic plan. Thanks.
Thank you, Lori. I believe there was a little bit of loose discussion from the crowd last month about committee meetings and access to those. I would ask Lori to have her meetings at another time rather than 6:30, when a lot of individuals that like to come to the meeting and have input are out having dinner. So if we could move those to a more convenient time for everybody, that would be great.
Sorry, I forgot one thing. Can I
Sure,
say
go
one
ahead.
thing? The landscape committee at our last meeting reviewed a proposal to update the butterfly garden. The butterfly garden is in a very...
Yes, we're going to talk about that. It's under old business on the agenda. So we're going to go into the old business. First thing on the agenda is to discuss the suggestion that we have 2 more pickleball courts to the tennis court for a total of 4. Bill, I know you had a meeting and you had a lot of people come to your meeting. I also heard that perhaps the only thing that was missing from the crowd was the torches. These committee meetings are supposed to be productive, respectful, and the committee is inviting you for your input, which may result in a little bit of mediation between what we can do and what you want. So, Bill, would you please report to the other members of the board what the discussion in relationship to these additional courts were, and where are we currently with these ideas?
Yeah, during that time, the pickleball courts took up a majority of that meeting. Some people present were advocating the addition of 2, like you said, 2 additional pickleball courts for a total of 4. This discussion turned into more of a need versus a want. Do we need 2 additional courts, or do we want 2 additional courts? We have no information or any numbers to back up the need for the 2 additional courts. And it also was asked about how do you go about scheduling the court, or do you just show up, or whatever? And there was a couple of them brought up that they have a text message system that they use to let people know when they're going to play or who's going to play or whatever. That works well for that core group. It doesn't work for anyone else that's outside of that group. So what I suggested was we just come up with a simple sheet, a sign-up sheet. And I threw one together there this evening, and you can have one for each day. We can put it together in a binder for you. We have 2 courts out there right now. And if you play 4 people on a court for a half an hour at a time, which what the pickleball players were saying, the games last anywhere from a minute to 15 minutes. So by allowing 30 minutes for the game, for your court time, that allows you, probably you can play anywhere from 2 to 4 games, 6 games, who knows, you know. But it gives everyone the opportunity to play, whether you're beginner, intermediate, or professional, or whatever. There's only, what I understood them to say, they had about 25 people that were wanting to play pickleball at this time. But if you go out here and look during the evenings or the mornings, you'll probably find 6, 10, 12 people maybe out there at a time. So at times there may be more than that. I don't know. But the biggest part of the days when they're wanting to play, they're saying, is of the morning before it gets hot and of the evenings. Well, you can play all the way up to 10 o'clock out here. So, and there's lights out there. So it's not like we don't have the facility to play and the means to play. It's just, if you want to take an effort to set this up right, it's only going to take a little bit of time. Like I said, simple sheet, we can put this together in a binder form and put it somewhere for you where all you have to do, you can pick out whatever day you want to and play, whatever times you want to play, and be there. If you sign up to play, only thing I ask is that you show up. Don't reserve a court, say from 8 till 9 o'clock in the morning, and don't show up. You know, be considerate of the other people there. With a little bit of effort on the pickleball players' part, they can make it work if they just want to put an effort to it.
Thank you, Bill. Do we have a show of hands of the pickleball players here in the clubhouse tonight? Okay, we do have 2. I just checked it.
One thing I would say is, a couple of years ago, we had the same problem, basically with volleyball in the pool. We didn't have the option of building another pool to have another volleyball net. So we started the sign-up sheet system, and it's worked very well. And that may be the system that works best for the pickleball, so something similar to that. It may be something where they reserve it, like Bill's suggesting. But there is something that works to maximize what we've got before we go building more, you know.
Basically, it needs to be a little more organized as a community activity, similar to, for example, bags, where we start the season off. It's drawn and made up with an unknown partner, and that's your team. And then later on, after skill levels been determined in some cases, the teams are made it up, and then we have playoffs. And it's a very well organized activity, and there's quite a few people that come out just to watch. It's entertaining.
My only comment about Bill's suggestion would be if people would be selfish enough to sign themselves up every single day at 11 o'clock, and then again at 4 or something. And I would hope that would not happen.
Okay, thank you. We need to move our meeting along here. I see the crowd's getting a little restless. So you came in tonight, there were some handouts out there. One of them was for the insurance for the community. It's had a steep increase, and they're trying to prepare us for another increase in what's coming down the road. Although I think it's a little bit unknown to them, there is no way any of us can explain why it's going up. I'm sure they're gonna blame inflation. I don't know what else the cause is, but it's a pretty drastic increase. Scott said his home insurance went up drastically. I don't know if anybody else has experienced that, but I'm sure you want to do a little shopping on your insurance. So rather than us trying to explain anything to you, we've invited an agent from Brown and Brown. Lori Ambrose is going to come here to the April board meeting on the 20th, and she is going to explain insurance increases to us. I want to see that too. It's going to be quite an explanation. The third item under old business is to preview the new website. As probably most of you know, Tom had a little bit of breathing discomfort, and on the cautious side, which we all should be, he had the courtesy ride to the hospital. He's checked out through all the basic stuff. Okay, they are running some tests, see what's going on, if anything. Maybe more as a caution. I did talk to him yesterday, and he was in good spirits, and he sounded like Tom. So we're praying for a speedy recovery there, and hope to see him back here real soon.
Should mention the website looks really good.
Yes, the website, you're gonna like it. It's gonna have quite a few benefits. More pictures, scrolling through a little entertainment there. It's gonna have a sign-in thing where you can sign into your own account, review different items in there. So it's gonna be a drastic improvement to what we have now. What we have now is very antiquated. And it allows us to do other features too and enhancements.
My favorite thing was the weather at the bottom of the page.
My favorite thing was it links with the accountants.
So we're looking forward to that, and we're gonna hold that, and Tom's gonna eventually be doing a presentation. We have a little bit of new business. The first item under new business to discuss is pictorial, which we're gonna be completing for the community. It's gonna be done in phases, and Eric's gonna give you a real fast overview of that.
So Lorraine mentioned it, and I saw a lot of you guys signing in on the way in, signing up for appointments. But about 8.5 years ago, we did this community directory, and we had over 100 of residents have their pictures taken. Some of you guys are here still right now, and there's a really nice thing. You see the front there. Anyway, we had set this up to do an updated directory in 2020, and we started signing people up and everything, and then the COVID-19 thing hit, and they canceled it on us. And then because of COVID-19, the company went out of business. So we were setting it up for 21, and they were not here with us. So we couldn't do it, and then we finally found another group that has the same program that we had with this one. Everybody that gets their picture taken, we really want to try to get everybody's picture taken. So we're really encouraging you to sign up and do it. So that way we have a complete directory. Everyone that gets their picture taken gets a copy of the directory. You don't get a copy unless you get your picture taken. And you also get a free 8x10 print of whichever picture that they take of you as your favorite. The pictures actually turn out really nice. The pictures really turn out really nice. And we hope that everybody does it. If you don't do it, you don't get the 8x10, you don't get the directory. They do have pictures for sale. They do have framed photos and packages you can buy. You're not required to buy them, but that's how they pay their way. And I didn't think that people would buy them last time, and then when they saw the pictures, a lot of people ended up buying them because they did turn out really nice. So we really encourage everyone to sign up. We have two sessions scheduled right now. We've got March 30th and 31st, and that we're trying to reserve for snowbirds and people that are going to be going back at the beginning of April. And then we're going to have it May 11th and 12th for full-time residents. And depending on the turnout that we have at those two, we need a third session. we'll either set something up later on in the summer or in the fall when some of the snowbirds come back. And, we want to try to get as complete of a directory as we can and hopefully have it ready for everybody towards the end of the year.
Thank you, Eric. The second item under new business is the butterfly garden. And Lori emailed the board with a proposal developed by a member of the landscaping committee detailing what they would like to do with the butterfly garden. Part of that was an arbor, and we have discussion going currently with Fred, our local craftsman, to see what we could do through him for an arbor. That probably we feel would be very durable, but we don't have that yet. So Lori, would you please briefly summarize the proposal for everybody?
Okay. I do have it.
Carl, we didn't give out the door prize yet.
So the summary of the existing and proposed plants include house plants, feeder plants, nectar plants, and the cost for the plant material is $175, and for the manure and soil is $20. The arbor is in there as well, but because you're looking at alternates, I won't give you the cost for this arbor. So it'd be $195 for the total cost. If you want to know the name of the host and the nectar plants, they're here.
So do we have a motion to spend $195 on soil and plants for the butterfly garden?
The landscape committee did recommend it to the board.
Yeah, and the proposal was passed to me, and since we're holding off on the arbor, money for the new plants is negligible against the budget, so.
And those plants will be planted within the confines of the present butterfly garden.
Correct.
Yes,
We're not gonna expand the footprint.
No, no, my understanding is it's staying with the footprint that it has. And the plants are to attract the butterflies because the existing plants have either died or from heat exhaustion, or plants don't last forever. And so to attract butterflies, they need the host and nectar plants.
Lori, will you please put that in the form of a motion?
I make a motion that the board approves refurbishing the plants in Butterfly Garden to the tune of $195.
I'll second that motion.
have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And we should hear something from Fred shortly.
Can I make a public service announcement?
Do we need to ring doorbell?
I do have the head of the Romeo committee today. I got a terrible look from back there. Tomorrow's Romeo meal has been canceled at Produce 30. Friday, sorry. I can't remember what day it is. I was so excited about the bridge. Friday's menu has changed for Produce 31. It's now going to be at Hog Bodies. Still going to be at noon. You still have to deal with Ed Rickey. Don't take a ride from him. He can't drive. Again, Hog Bodies, Friday, 12 o'clock.
And now for,
Yours doesn't work.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I am going to stop that motion. I have an announcement. I spoke briefly on the committee and coming to the committee meetings. We want you to come to committee meetings, and we want this to be a working committee. And please be respectful to the person conducting that meeting. They spent their free time to try to add extra value to this community. I do have the forensic report back from the lab on Laura Dartry's tree that was cut down. It had a 6-inch rot hole in the stump. It's a good thing we got it out of there before it fell on somebody or a building. So it's official, it was rotten. We had a lot of debris fall. We have a couple trees we're keeping an eye on because the limbs broke off. So when the tree guy's out here, they will take a look at that. Mother Nature drops a lot of pollen and, for lack of better terms, crap from these oak trees that falls over. I do not know if the heavy influx varies from year to year, if it's a seasonal thing. But yeah, I know it's nasty and I know none of you like it. On the other hand, I know the other half of you people don't want any trees cut down. So we do not cut trees down unless they have to be.
Except fruit trees.
The pool hours, it locks down at 10 o'clock. If you notice a person in there at 10 after 10, you should be able to recognize that they're a resident and not a vandal or somebody that hopped the fence from the hood. Do not make it your mission to lock them in, to punish them, and don't get your military grade flashlight out to shine it in their eyes. Have a little respect. As to the other night, when we had some young people in the pool at 1 o'clock, we have spotted them on our surveillance camera, and we know that they were somebody's grandkids. And it was probably their last night here because we haven't seen them since then. So, report it to the office. If it's 1 o'clock in the morning, do not call John. Call 911. On the other side of the coin, we don't want to be calling 911 on residents in the pool. We do not want a phone call from the sheriff telling Eric that the people live here call 911 too many times. We want it to be an official call and a valid reason. Parking. The car wash closes at dusk. Sometimes there's special events here. As in the other night, and there was a lot of cars parked down the road on both sides. That's okay. Try not to put your tires on the grass. I know in some situations, like maybe tonight, there might be a lot of cars parked out there and somebody might be in the car wash. So don't expect to come down at dark and wash your car. Do not park your blue F-150 on the lawn by the tennis courts. That will get you a violation. One tire on the grass won't, but please try not to, because when it rains, it gets really muddy. And we don't want any damage to the lawn. And we don't want any sprinkler heads broken off from that.
Sprinkler heads, very spendy.
And, you know, my mother said, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything.
Tweet it.
We have an incident report. It's not a matter of, oh, Johnny over here did something, or Billy or something like that. And it's not the unknown. I'm sorry to report this. I don't want to pull anybody into the light, but this is a public document. It's available, so I don't feel bad. Location, this is an incident report. Location, Lake Path. Person complaining, Pamela Elliott. Affected party phone number, blah, blah. Date and time, Thursday, March 10th, around 7 p.m. Name of affected party, Terry Gassalone. I might not pronounce that perfectly, but she is a fine member of the community. And her address, and then it goes on the nature of the incident. Terry was walking with her service dog around the lake when Michelle Locke came up from behind her and was saying things in the effect of, I know you're not deaf. What are you doing is illegal, etc. And I'm sure she had some other choice words in there. Terry and Michelle verbally, Terry said Michelle verbally harassed her. Terry is legally blind, not deaf. This is disgusting that a member of this community, Michelle Locke, does not have enough respect for the other members in this community to be respectful and not verbally abuse anybody. This is not the first incident, and I am on notice or letting you know this behavior is disgusting. It needs to end. Michelle, end your bad behavior and treat people with respect, or don't open your mouth. Thank you. Can I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
Do I have an opportunity to speak?
Thank you all for coming.
Wait,
Oh, no.
she gets to speak afterwards. You can speak, you have the extra.
You cannot expect to speak about me in front of a meeting and not ever warn me or give me any opportunity to defend myself.
Once it's a public document, no,
What do you mean a public
you
document?
don't. A public document is on file here. It is an incident report. It is legal according to the lawyers.
Where is it public?
I'm sorry. Please treat these people with
I have
respect
never been
and
rude
do
to
not
Terry.
verbally abuse anybody in this community.
Terry is in
Thank
my
you,
building.
Michelle.
This is retaliation, that's what it is.
I thank you all for coming, and I'm sorry that you had to hear that. I am terribly sorry. We need to be respectful.
No, it's not.
You know me. I'm
Thank you. I'm not, it's out in the open. It's out in the open. Not a secret.
I told Annie that it was too late to back out. For the budget thing. I'll email you guys once I get hold of Judy, and then